All right, members of parliament allied to the Kenya Kwanza government have this morning in parliament argued why it is important for the country to adopt the finance bill after the National Assembly Finance Committee. On the other hand, members of parliament allied to Azimio want the bill to be shut down. And right now, we cross over to the county of Kisumu, where Achola Simon is on standby. This as protests country continue amid complaints from Kenyans that the bill will affect the economy of the country in varied ways. Achola, good afternoon.
Well, good afternoon, Irina Mchoma. Kisumu County, and keeping an eye on the demonstrations that have actually been happening parts of the country, and of course Kisumu also joined some of the parts of the country in actually agitating for the rejection of finance bill. Irina can assure you that I've covered a number of demonstrations in this region, but I've never seen the composition of demonstrators that actually witnessed today, young and of course coming out with their mobile phones, and of course some going live on social media platforms, and of course expressing their dissatisfaction and with finance bill. And Irene, since morning, that is around 8 a.m. up until noon, everything was okay. They came, they actually did their thing. Anger with the finance bill, and of course are calling on the government and whoever cares to listen to actually try as much as they can to shoot down the bill. But as we are accustomed to in this region, is that when there are demonstrations, most people in the CBD actually close their premises. That was not the case up until around 11 a.m. And as I speak to you, just pan on his left, you can actually see this is one of the biggest retail supermarket in this region, and of course it's actually closed, and there are a number of them that have actually closed from 11 a.m. up until now. That of course being as a result between midday up until now. The situation has actually calmed down. What happened is that the demonstrators started their demonstration from Kondele, holding a procession through the CBD, all in the streets, and of course agitating for whatever they were agitating for. They went to the sports ground, held there a small continued to hold the procession in the CBD through the streets, and then eventually ended up at the Central Police Station in Kisumu County, in the Kisumu City. Was that a number of them were actually arrested as the result, and of course in the ensuing chaos, the police had actually to throw or lob tear gas canisters in the crowd. But also what happened is that some of them had actually now started on the road, and of course some of them had started throwing stones at the police. Then of course there were running battles here and there, and everything then turned chaotic for some time. But however, as I speak to you right now, everything has quelled down, and businesses have actually but what we see is that the Gen Z, as we have preferred to actually call them, they're actually still grouping up in small groups. And most of them are actually saying that they will continue once they are called upon to actually come out and demonstrate. They're saying that they will continue. I just want to also to put it to you that yesterday the county government of Kisumu County did give directives on exactly what they expected the demonstrators or the routes through which they expected the demonstrators to follow. But also they did call on sure that indeed they maintain peace even as they go about their agitation. That, as I said, happened well up until around 11 a.m. this morning, of course, when hell broke loose. What other thing that we've actually also witnessed, Irene, is the fact that we have not seen any politician coming to claim the limelight that is actually been generated by these Gen Zs. Most politicians have actually kept off. We've seen a number of activists in the groups. However, it has been on a very minimal scale. The Gen Zs this is what we want, and we are willing to speak. Those we've actually talked to actually say that they will continue this. Irene, you know, for a very long time in this country, we have seen a situation whereby the young ones are very loud on social media. They are very loud in other platforms, but when it comes to the voting day, when it comes to actually agitating for, they never show up. But they're saying this time around that they will come out and say and speak as they want to speak. So, of course, we'll be keeping a keen eye on exactly what will be happening. We'll actually try and get to see how many of them have actually been arrested. And, of course, if there's any destruction of property, of course, that will be reported in our subsequent bulletin. Back to you, Irene Michuma.